think we're good here. Let's see. Just doing a check right here to see if everything's running smoothly. Thank you for joining. It's taking a while for this to come on. Yeah, we're good. Well, that's good. Looks good. Just cut off the mic here. So thank you so much for joining us. This is a PDR live stream right now. And please like the video and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so at this moment. So I just wanted to take some time to go over what the mainstream media is actually has made the story go viral at the moment, and it's regarding the United Health Group's CEO, his assassination in New York. As some of you may already be aware, probably almost all of you are probably already aware, and probably those of you who are watching right now probably know more about the story than I do. Apparently, last Wednesday, there was a meeting held by investors of United Health Group. It was held in New York, somewhere near Central Park, apparently. And the one of the CEO of United Health flew to New York from Minnesota, because he's from Minnesota, and stayed at a hotel. And when he, I guess, departed from his hotel, a gunman actually shot him from behind and in the leg. And there's actually surveillance footage of the gunman actually killing him. And the gunman apparently used a silencer to assassinate the UHC CEO Brian Thompson, who is 50 years old, and from what I've read, he's been with the company for 20 years. Now, the mainstream media's reaction, of course, to this assassination is one of shock. Uh, However, if you go on online, and I don't want to make light of this situation for this gentleman who, unfortunately he lost his life. Uh, and I think you've probably already heard many people online who are repeating this, but I really do mean it. I do not really wish ill on anyone, and death is something final. You can't. Uh, but this is the lesson that death is final. When once death happens, you can't go back and do a redo, and that's relevant to what I'm going to discuss today, because was probably all of you are well aware. If you go on X or even Facebook, from what I hear, almost every social media account, the news outlets post the story, and when you go ahead and read the comments, it's almost like 99.99% of the comments are actually making light of the situation, making fun of the situation, sometimes making fun of the CEO, or making fun of the insurance company. And why is that? And you're all aware that a lot of people have just had very negative experience um, with the healthcare industry. Well, not the healthcare industry; it's more the health insurance industry. People have had claims denied. People have had large co-pays. People have gone bankrupt in this country because of the high cost of healthcare. And we spoke about it in a previous stream that I did about the election, and how economics was part of the reason why voters voted the Democrats out of the White House. And losing your job, if you lose your job, if you lost your job during COVID, you're not just losing your job in many cases. If you have benefits tied to that job, you lose your health benefits once you lose your job. So our healthcare system here in the United States really rewards predatory. That's really what it is predatory behavior amongst the insurance companies. And this is something, of course, that the mainstream media, as all of you are aware, don't really want to focus. They just want to focus on the horrific assassination, which, they should. And they want to focus on the evidence that the police is gathering and the video surveillance and who's this try to find out who this gunman is, what's the possible motive. uh, Come on, possible motive, right? And of course, one of the clues that the gunman left behind is that apparently he ejected three spent shells, and I don't know much about firearms, but he ejected three shells. At first, they were reporting that his silencer, like the gun jammed, but then some people are saying, or some of the police experts on TV are saying that he probably did that on purpose so that the authorities, when they gathered the evidence, they found the three spent shells that had the words, and I have to quote again, had the words deny, defend, and depose. And that basically is making somewhat a reference of um, a book apparently that's very critical of the healthcare industry. But it's the books. The title of the book has a different title. It's not those three words. It's two of those three words, but depose is not one of the words. I forget what it is. But anyway, in any event, people were making the connection that this hit was really reg- most likely regarding a healthcare claim or an insurance claim that this CEO or the company he represents rejected. Okay, so that's a possible motive that's constantly being brought up. It's also possible that there are many possible. We don't know what the motive is. It's also possible that maybe this gunman used that to distract attention away from the real possible motive. We don't know if he's a hired assassin or if this person had debt. We don't know much. And his wife was the one who really raised that possibility when she was quoted about the fact that he had been receiving threats, and she is not 100% certain what the nature of those threats, but she believed that the threats had something to do with denial of coverage. So that's that's pretty much the summary of what's been going on here, and they're trying to find out where this gunman probably is gone. The new evidence that came out today on the news is apparently that the person used a burner phone. He's seen in one of the footage on the surveillance camera when he's walking down the street at night in New York, and he's on a cell phone, so they think that he was either speaking with someone, or they're not sure if he was getting information from someone when the CEO was departing from the hotel. But apparently that cell phone, which he left on this scene or somewhere in the vicinity, is a burner phone, so it can't really be tied to him. But they possibly could check these satellite evidence from satellite to see, who bought what phone was used, or who bought where he bought it. But it's probably going to be difficult for them to track that information down. The other piece of information is that, of course, he left the scene on a bike, and he probably biked through Central Park back to his hostel where he stayed, and he produced a fake ID when he registered at the hostel. When he was at the hostel, he shared the room that he was registered in with two other people. Those witnesses apparently told police that he never took his mask off. Of course, it's cold in New York at the moment, and so that did not really raise much suspicion at all. The individual also bought water bottle from Starbucks before he assassinated the CEO, and bought some energy bars, I believe, which he left on the scene. And they're trying to see if they can gather any type of DNA from that evidence that he left on the scene. I think that's pretty much most of the details, but I wanted to take a look at the how the mainstream media, of course, is reporting this. And here's the headline from NBC that they believe that the person here who did the assassination traveled from Atlanta, Georgia to New York. Now that raises questions. Why, right? Because the CEO is actually from Minnesota, not Atlanta, Georgia. But apparently he traveled to New York City from Atlanta last month here. So there's a deny, defend, depose. It was written on the shell casings where UnitedHealth CEO was killed, official says. And according to this article, the shell casings found at the scene where the UnitedHealthcare CEO was shot dead by a masked gunman in front of a busy New York City hotel had deny, defend, and depose written on them, says right there. So, let's see right there. Right. A senior New York City law enforcement official briefed on the investigation confirmed to NBC News on Thursday. Brian Thompson, 50, was killed in a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack outside the New York Hilton Midtown in the heart of Manhattan, police said. So the police say they don't yet know the motive of the gunman, who remains still at large. Thompson's family said in a statement they are shattered to hear about the senseless killing of our beloved Brian. They go on to state that Brian was an excellent, incredibly loving, generous, talented man who truly lived life to the fullest and touched so many lives, end quote. The family said in a statement obtained by NBC affiliate Care of Minneapolis. The family requested complete privacy. Investigators believe the shooter may have traveled to New York City from Atlanta last month by bus. 3 senior law enforcement officials familiar with the case told NBC News. Officials are working to see whether they can find a name from the tickets purchased for a November 24th Greyhound trip that might help identify the gunman. Greyhound said it is cooperating with the authorities on the investigation. Police are also looking into whether the gunman paid in cash and used a fake ID to rent a room at a hostel on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, according to two law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation. Now, if he used a fake ID to register at the hostel, he most likely probably used a fake ID to purchase or used a false name to purchase the tickets. So I don't even know if even if they got that information, what name he used to purchase the tickets. Who knows if that's going to be helpful to them or not. So we're going to go ahead and so that's that right there. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at a video here from YouTube from the CBS Chicago affiliate who covered this story here. And we can see it. Perfect.
The man wanted for shooting and killing UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson yesterday morning in New York City.
These surveillance images were taken at a hostel where the shooter was staying. As CBS's Jared Hill reports, there are also some new clues about a potential motive.
And we want to warn you, video of the crime is disturbing.
A sign advertising a $10,000 reward for information leading to the shooter of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson is taped to a light pole outside a hostel on New York City's Upper West Side. Police also released these images from the hostel showing the suspect's face. It's the clearest look so far of the man the NYPD has been hunting since Wednesday morning.
So they think that he probably, most likely, somebody mentioned this, that he probably took his mask off because most likely what happened when he registered at the hostel, they probably asked to, that they wanted to see his face, because they want to match his face to the ID that he presented, the fake ID.
We will not rest until we identify and apprehend the shooter in this case.
Police are using a trail of digital breadcrumbs to track Thompson's brazen killer. Found at the crime scene, words written on the shell casings: deny, defend, and depose, similar to the 3 Ds of insurance, a phrase used by opponents of the industry.
Based on the evidence we have so far, it does appear that the victim was specifically targeted, but at this point we do not know why.
Cameras at a Starbucks captured enough of the suspect before the shooting to run facial recognition. Police say he paid cash. CBS News law enforcement contributor Rodney Harrison says the suspect is experienced with a gun.
Just take a look at his stance and how he had the gun pointed out. He knew what he was doing. The gun jams. He's able to deal with the malfunction. So it looks like he's very proficient with how to use it.
So somebody pointed out that he probably did this on purpose, that he made the weapon, and I don't know much about firearms, but he probably made the weapon do that so that he could eject the shells, and so because he most likely wanted to leave that message. We wanted to point out too that they made reference to healthcare critics there. Notice how the mainstream media didn't go segue into that. If you really wanted to find what the who was behind this, motive, right, is the most important thing in a murder case. So why don't you delve into that aspect of this case about people criticizing health insurers? But again, the mainstream media just does not want to do that because it's just going to open up a can of worms. The UHC at the moment is telling their employees not to speak to the media, so they're just trying to keep this thing damage control at the moment, because their PR, UHC's right now, PR has been damaged online by the stuff that's been being posted and the comments that people are making. So again, I think that the media doesn't want to delve into that, but if they were really serious about finding who this is, if this was really a serious investigative reporting, they would go into that and go into people's experience with this specific insurance company, right? Wouldn't the police investigators do that to try to find the killer? And then good luck trying to find the possible suspects, because how many claims have they denied at that company?
The gun jams. He's able to deal with the malfunction. So it looks like he's very proficient with how to use a firearm.
Harrison says the NYPD solves about 87% of the cases in this part of the city, so it may only be a matter of time for this one. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
We want to show you some new video now coming in just within the last 15 minutes. Look outside the doors there. You can see what's believed to be the gunman walking out of a subway station. We're told that this video was taken about 30 minutes before the shooting. Joining us now, former CBD First Deputy Superintendent Anthony Riccio. It's been nearly 36 hours since the shooting.
Okay, so that's that from the shooting, and it's just really remarkable to see how, again, how they present the information in this story. It's just telling. But I did want to take a look at one video here that was done by Breaking Points. So let me go here. And please bear with me at the moment. Oh, it's not, now it's not letting me. So I think that we lost the app at the moment. We can't get back in there. So I might finish soon, but I did want to. So it's not letting me. It's not allowing me to open up the app at the moment, and I apologize for that. God. What a mess. What a mess. But let me see if I can go back here. And then, oh yeah, it's just, I think it's frozen. So I did want to take a look at some of the negative comments that people are making online. Unfortunately, my computer at the moment is not really cooperating right now. So please bear with me. Okay. I think it's right here. Okay. So we found it. So it's going to be this video over here with breaking points, but they pointed out that the comments that were made by people online is not very
Good morning, everybody. Happy
to the CEO. Let me see if I can find the section there, that part of the video here. Oh, I think this is important here. So they point out here that the amount of claims that the United Health Group rejects, and here it is.
The worst, 32% of claims denied by this company. We also know that they are being sued right now because they've been using this AI that reportedly, according to the lawsuit, has some 90% error rate to reject people's claims. And you're hard pressed to find an American family that hasn't been negatively impacted by this disgusting, horrible system. So, if people are shocked by the reaction that has sort of flowed down of the entire nation in response to this killing, I don't think that you should be shocked, because most people have some sort of story. I mean, in my own family, like Kyle's dad very possibly would still be alive and have been at our wedding if it wasn't for our fucked up health insurance system. So, there's a lot of anger and horror at what this looks like in this country.
Yeah,
So she's making reference to, she's married to Kyle Kulinski, who's a YouTuber who has this show, Secular Talk. And so apparently she, and I didn't know that before, that she mentioned that they I guess they denied coverage to Kyle's dad, and he's not alive because of that. But here's a section right here where they talk about how people are commenting.
People who are like this. We saw some of that actually, like you said, on the comments reacting to this. We can go ahead and put A10, please, on the screen, and this was put out, and for example, some of the top comments, people are like, I'm sorry, prior authorization is required for thoughts and prayers. Sending prior authorization denied claims, collections, and prayers to the family. Was his trip to the ER really emergent? And it's crazy what my first thought was, and then I look at the comments and realize that I am not alone in my thoughts. So clearly there's a lot of people who are out there who are very, very upset with the healthcare system. Even bringing it back to just the crime, I saw some analysis where they're like, this is an insane same crime because there are 20 million people who could be potential suspects
That's right.
in carrying this out. And if you look at some of the, if you look at currently, the fact is that when you murder someone in New York City, actually pretty much you murder someone anywhere, it's not all that difficult to narrow down the range of suspects. And especially New York is one of the most surveilled countries.
Yeah, that's a good point that he made, because really in a lot of murders, not all, but a lot of them, and I don't have the statistics, but it's really someone that the victim knew. Police tend to narrow it. That's why they always look at the next of kin, or they look at a person's wife, husband, brother, sister, a parent. In most cases, from my understanding, is that parents killed kids more than kids kill parents. That's more. You read about stories of parents like murdering their kids. We see that here in the local news, a lot of cases of parents just doing that. So it's usually someone that the victim knows, or the perpetrator has some type of access to the victim, so they can narrow it down, or the victim knew the person who committed the homicide. In this case, well, like what he mentioned, you have 20 million possible suspects who either are involved or who ordered a hit. So how are they going to narrow that pool down if in fact this is about a denial claim? And if it's not, then boy, they're going to have their work cut out for them, because they would have to eliminate the possibility that this has to do with denying coverage. If they find out that it doesn't, then they've wasted time going through all that evidence. So who knows?
In the world, I mean, in terms of not only police officers, this is Midtown Manhattan. Anybody who's been there, there are police everywhere across Midtown Manhattan. You also have cameras blanketing the entire place. That surveillance footage is just like private one. In terms of what the NYPD has access to, and the NYPD Counterterrorism Bureau, and all of that, that entire city is like basically wired.
Right, and that's a good point. But however, the individual, he had a backpack with him. So again, we don't know if he committed the crime, got on the bicycle, went through Central Park to head to his hostel. We don't know if in the backpack he had another extra set of clothes on, right? Or he went into Central Park, found a secluded area, changed clothes, put the clothes that he had on when he committed the murder in the backpack, then got back on the bike and went, and then if the surveillance footage captured him on the other end, well, now it's there, the person who committed the assassin is now wearing something different than when he so it's going to be hard for them to and that's why I think it took about a day for them to figure out that he had been staying at this place. I think personally he's gone. If he came from out of state, to me, if it just doesn't make sense for him to stick around there in New York. If he came from out of state, I think he went over there, committed the murder, and then right after the murder went back to his place, got his stuff, and got out. And then is probably left in less than 24 hours, is probably now no longer inside the state. Whether he's in the country, that's even another question. That who knows? Who knows where he can be? So they've just lost his track, I believe, at the moment, because we're not hearing anything that we think he's at the moment. We found we got a clue, or we got a tip from someone, and we think we're on his trail right now. The media is not really giving that, and the reason that they're showing the image of him when he takes off the mask is that they themselves have said on the mainstream media, the people who they have interviewing, that they're hoping that by showing his face that someone who knows him recognizes him and will call the authorities to tell them, hey, that's so and so, and that could help them. So that's just an indication to me that they don't know where he's at. And again, that's just my opinion about it. But yeah, so I wanted to mention that and point that out there about that. So yeah, that's about it, guys, for today. And I'll do a follow-up on this story, I think, because it's connected to the election, in that really someone, I think, pointed this out, but they didn't really go into depth into it. But they said that, oh no, I know who pointed this out. As what's her name again? Hold on. The former Bernie Sanders spokesperson. This press. Brianna Joy. Right, I wanted to say I get her mixed up with Joy Reid sometimes, so I don't know the name mixed up. But Brianna Joy Gray tweeted this actually on X. She actually said the following, which I thought was interesting, and I thought it just raised the bell when she tweeted this. But she's on X, just raising hell, with the establishment supporters. But where is it that okay. Well, anyway, I think that I'll just paraphrase from my memory what she basically tweeted, the fact that Democrats could be talking about this issue. It's a controversial issue, and it's related to healthcare, and they can be. Here it is. This is what she tweeted this yesterday. Reading all the absolutely savage tweets about the insurance guy's murder and thinking how crazy it is that Democrats refuse to channel the shared fury over our healthcare systems into electoral wins. And then she reposted a tweet from another account that had posted UnitedHealth CEO Brian Thompson was just 50 years old at the time of his murder, which is a lot more tragic when you know that his life expectancy as a member of the top 1% was 88, or 15 years longer than the life expectancy of the average American male. Okay, so like we talked about, like I mentioned before, mainstream media doesn't want to talk about that. Okay, but Brianna is pointing out something very important. Look, I mean, just look at this right here on NBC News. It's the first story, right? And so Democrats right now, or at least a senator, someone could get on this. If a senator, they could rise on the floor of the Senate and say, Mr. President, I rise before in front of the Senate to pay my respects, to the family of the CEO who was viciously murdered. Right, you want to lay the groundwork, right? But I want to talk about what possibly could have led to this senseless act of violence, and the fact that there's needless and senseless death going all around our country, with gun violence, with people not having adequate health insurance, the underinsured, the people who don't have insurance companies, or people facing denial claims being denied from the health care companies, not knowing where to turn to, and in some cases a loved one from a family dying. Could you imagine the attention that would receive? That politician in the Senate, if he had the audacity, the audacity of hope. If he had the audacity, or she or he had the audacity to rise before the Senate and make a speech like that, you know the attention that person would receive. And Brianna is absolutely correct. 1,000 points. She hit it bullseye yesterday. This is what they should be talking about right now. Because you look, and even if that person is attacked by the media, good, let them attack. If I were the person's advisor, I would tell them, hey, you need to talk about this like immediately, like yesterday, you know. And if the person asks, well, the media's they're not gonna forget about the media. Who cares? Look at all these comments. People are going to support you, and they're going to attack the mainstream media. Hey, they're not going to defend what the media's attacks against you at all. So this is really an example of how Democrats lose elections. Okay, and Brianna is absolutely correct. This is a golden opportunity for them to raise this issue right now, or to even make it an issue in 2026. Now, I can just hear the media saying, "Oh, you're using a person's death, for political gain." That's what they're going to say, right? But again, it doesn't matter what the media says. Just read the comments, right? That the people are putting out there on social media. So yeah, so I'll do a follow-up tomorrow on that, I hope, and talking about that specific issue. But please like the live stream. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think this guy is a victim of the healthcare industry, or do you think he was a hired gun, or do you think it's none of the above, or do you think this has absolutely nothing to do with insurance claims being rejected, or do you think that's what this is about? Let me know in the comments. And do you think the Democrats should raise this issue, or independents, or not just even Democrats, or we're not even hearing from the Green Party, right? Or people outside the two-party system? Do you think that they can use this issue to try to galvanize public opinion and maybe hold rallies in New York? Or again, I'm very critical too of not just the major parties. I'm also critical of the non-major parties, because we're not hearing from them at all. So how can you come to voters every 4 years and say, oh, the system is not fair, look, this is your opportunity to do something about it. Hold rallies, right? Do a press conference, call attention to this issue, right? This is an issue supposedly you care about, and you could organize a national movement behind this. So why are you not doing that? I'm not hearing from you at all. But yeah, again, thanks for listening. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not done so. Have a good evening, folks. Thank you.